Hello, welcome to another toneless landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today, maybe I'll keep this title, I'm not sure. It's called Fall Color, and um, I just finished this a few days back. And the funny thing is, though, what you're seeing right now in the video, the drawing stage, I did way back in June, so quite a while back. And I was real happy with the drawing slash underpainting, but for some reason I just didn't get back into doing it. Maybe because it's pretty big for me. Sometimes I just want to do little things, and life has been so scattered out here with the unnamed situation of unknown origin that nobody wants to talk about. Um, so I have been painting through all of that, but um, sometimes just that bigger extra focus maybe wasn't there, but I had it the other day. And funny enough, I was walking, I had this reference in the folder. So what I do and what I recommend you do, if you got a spare moment or so, go through some of the photos you've taken that you think would make nice paintings and mess around with them, maybe do some color cast or whatever your abilities enable you to do. There's some programs that give you very quick type instant results like Luminar and the plugin Nik for Photoshop, and Photoshop compatible programs is a good way to go too, because you can definitely shift your reference one way or the other. Anyway, this was a fall scene, but it wasn't so overt. I mean, it had a few yellow leaves, but I took it and pushed it into a whole nother area. And so I've had that reference sitting in a folder. And funny enough, that morning when I know I was gonna go in the studio, and I'm thinking, oh, I'd like to paint that one. I'd like to paint that one, having forgotten that I did the whole drawing stage. And so then I look at the back. It's behind other paintings is what is going on. And I'm like, hey, I already did the drawing. I can get this done today. And I jumped in and mixed the colors. Now the color mixing session is in the live area. I excised it from this video because this is so sped up. I mean, the entire painting session was 3 hours and 25, 40, 30 minutes. I don't know, something like that, with the color mixing in between. So drawing stage back in June. Then I did the color mixing and talked a bit about my approach to the colors, and then jumped right in and finished the painting. It was maybe Saturday, I don't know. Either way, I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. And I don't do a lot of these fall color things. For one, where I live out here in New Zealand, we don't see a transformation like that. You might see trees in certain parks and things where you could tell, or cemeteries where you could tell a lot of the old English trees were planted, but the deciduous trees out here, or is that deciduous means no leaves? I think the native trees out here are deciduous. There you go. For the most part, there's not a big change of color. I think it's a little different down in the South Island. I'm in the North Island, so anyway, and the other reason I don't really like this kind of scene is, and I mentioned this in the live video, it's like when I was a kid was maybe one of the lowest points of landscape painting, I think, which was the 60s and 70s. And you just got all this stuff that was like really cloying, like, fall painting and sunset painting. And what am I doing now? I do sunsets all the time. I actually avoided him though, because I had that sort of bad taste in my mouth from my youth. But I feel like my approach to sunset is not cloying, and I feel like my approach to this fall thing is also not cloying. So, and if you're having that sort of issue yourself with certain themes and subjects you think it might be good to go after, maybe go after them anyway, but know that try and focus in on and be aware of what aspect of paintings that are done in a way you don't like, that portray that sort of subject matter or style. Try and hone in on what it is you don't like, what you think is false, because frankly you could paint any time of year beautifully. The one thing I haven't done a lot of is like snow scenes, because when I lived in California, I'd been in the snow like once or twice, and there's definitely no snow where I live here. So a bit silly for me to paint snow, but I have a friend of the channel that loves painting snow and lives in Canada. You know, they paint snow all the time, and and snow painting is its own sort of discipline, which of course we won't get into because it's got nothing to do with this. So you're thinking, okay, well, where's my tips, man? I'm getting ready to bail on you here. Yeah, well, what was kind of going through my mind, because I had somebody. The nice thing about having my publicly accessible studio is I get people walking in all the time. A lot of people come in, they're asking about possibly doing lessons and things, and you know where I'm at there is like it's always nice to have the income, but I really am only keen on students that are going to resonate with what I do and who I am. So usually I just throw all kinds of information at them, and I also reveal a bit of my personality to them. Um, so if they're not going to dig where I'm coming from, then they can just avoid the whole, you know, oh, can I have lessons with you and this and that. And I had an incident like that with a lady, and it was a sort of a similar story I always hear, and that's why I want to, you know, kind of relate it to you. You know, she's going to art school. And I'll be honest with you, I think art school can be good for some types of people, but I think you'd be far better served just, you know, getting on with your life and practicing art in your spare time. You have a lot more spare time than you realize, a lot of which is wasted on you know, social media and television and movies and videos and video games, um, or just sitting around staring out the window. Who knows? You know, that's time that could be turned to mastering art. And going to school is, you maybe I say good for certain personality types, maybe for people that are unable to motivate themselves, you know. But frankly, if that's one of your problems, don't go into art at all, because after art school you're going to need to motivate yourself anyway. And I can assure you that unless you are, well, you could be lucky, maybe you're like a tattoo type artist or something, or you're doing something that's really hit a nerve or struck a chord with the public, and you're immediately you know, people want your art right off the bat and really care about what you're doing. And you know, that's a blessing if that happens, obviously. But the fact of the matter is if you want to be an artist, things like that shouldn't concern you so much. What should concern you should be getting better at art and getting better at expressing who and what you are and how you see things. And that's a process that it relies completely on painting. I'm assuming you're interested in painting since you're watching my painting channel. You need to paint a lot. You need to paint so much that painting becomes something that you just do, like eating or sleeping, you know, or reading a book or any of these things. It's you sit down and then I'm painting now, or breathing even. How about that, you know? It should just be a natural expression of who you are. And to get to that point takes quite a lot of painting, obviously. And once you're at that point, you're still going to have a period of time where you might do some real clinkers that are bad paintings, and we've talked about that before. The best thing to do with those is just, you know, turn them to face the wall, and then maybe put a coat of paint over the top and do a new painting on top of that. Or if it's really bad, you know, just bust it on the curb. There's a few every year that I'll do that too. And it's a good feeling. And I don't, well, you go, well, why do you do that, Mike? You could send me that painting, you know. Yeah, the reason I do that is because legacy, right? And then that may be a little bit of a vanity, but I'm pretty sure it's a vanity that all of you share. You want your art to be considered after you're not here, and you want it to be in someone's home and being looked at and being, you know, doing its job as art, you know, uplifting the environment that it resides in, you know. And that is very valuable, and that's called legacy, you know. And if you've left a bunch of really wonderful art behind, then perhaps your name may be known. Let's face it, the very few artists that have worked, or names are known. But even if your name's not known, you don't need bad art Your bad pieces will be the things that could end up defining you. So often I've seen some work by an artist that I thought was like, I thought the artist was great, but I saw this one or painting or the other, and I go, whoa, that's really not very good. You know what he should have done if they're not with us anymore? They should have got rid of it, just painted over the top of it or destroyed it. Yeah. So that you're leaving behind a body of work that's good for one, and for two, just as a living person who's working and doing paintings, you don't need your bad work hanging around, bumming you out. You don't need the paintings that you overworked. You don't need the paintings where you just didn't have the composition right. You don't need the paintings where the color's off. You don't need those in your life. But what you do need is the experience of having done them. That's extremely valuable. That's irreplaceable. And pulling this back around to what I started to talk about, that's kind of what you would get with art school, except you can do it without all the other stuff that comes from art school that is really can be very negative. For one is, creating art that's message art that, let's face it, the only people that would care about it is people that have either been to art school or the people involved in the scam that is the modern art movement. I don't even know if that's still going on because I pay no attention to it. But, lay people, it really messes with art because lay people look at this awful stuff that, selling for zillions of dollars, and they just go, what a scam art is, No, art is very uplifting, and it's a beautiful thing to do, and you should be creating work that is beautiful, that uplifts people's spirits and brings beauty into their lives and into their home, and reveals something about the nature of the reality we live in, that words can't, and that's the problem with modern art. I'm not going to go any further into my modern art diatribe. If you dig somewhere in the 600-700 videos on this channel, you'll find whole videos where I just go off the deep end. But I'm not here to diss modern art. I'm here to talk about creating art, your own art. And I'm not saying you should create art like what I do. I'm assuming that if you're watching this channel and you do with any regularity that you like this type of art, you would like to do something similar, or you're just getting some good tips, There's a great tip, the same old tip, right? Do paint every day. Don't go to art school. You don't need the art school Kool-Aid. What you need to do is, and do studies after artists that you admire, dead ones preferably. But, it's fine if they're a living artist as long as you give them attribution. Generally not good to sell that work. It's probably not an honest thing to do. But fine to make studies after things, and again, it's fine to sell the work if the artist has passed on. It's no, with attribution, of course. It's no skin off their nose. It's not like you're messing with their art career, right? But that's actually one of the most rapid ways to get extremely good, extremely quickly, is to do studies after other artists. And, but not solely that, because that'll make you a bit brittle as an artist. You really need to take your own photographs, whatever it is you want to paint, and mess with them, and do a bunch of paintings, and keep the good ones, get rid of the bad ones. Do that for your own spirit, really, because you'll have your good paintings surrounding you, and you won't, it'll be uplifting, it'll be something that's supporting yourself as an artist, which is a theme I've touched on quite a lot on this channel. We got like a part of a minute left. We can touch on a little bit more. The thing, you want to do things that support yourself as an artist. Like in this particular situation, I mixed the colors before lunch so that I would be sure to come back to work and finish the painting. I don't want to waste that paint. That's called supporting yourself as an artist. Getting rid of bad paintings in your life that you've done is supporting yourself as an artist. Doing a painting every day, which is one of the reasons why maybe I do a lot of small paintings, because I know I can sit down and do something that's 5x7 or 8x10 in an afternoon pretty easily, and I'm progressing. And the further you progress, of course, the kind of the slower the gains come, but the less bad things you do, and that's really wonderful and a total blessing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming around, and if you got this far, check out that live area. This is a long video, but you could get some stuff off of there and find the tip in and tip out. It's all good. Check out my website too if you want. And until I come back with another video, take good care, stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.